All right, welcome to another pedal demo. This time it is of the Pinstripe multi-buffer. I feel like this is a long time coming now because I tell people about it all the time and how big of a deal I think it is. So I figured why not just give a very simple showcase of what it sounds like if you don't use one or if you do. Now, of course, there's other things on my board that influence the tone. You know, there's a couple of different styles of buffers, you know, like in my RJM controller, like the Big Sky has one on, and all of these things kind of make a difference. This isn't necessarily like some teaching course on, you know, buffers, but this is just to show like, hey, when the multi-buffer's on the front end of your chain and when it's not, what does it sound like? So let's dive into that. First, we're going to listen to what it sounds like if I plug straight into my compressor and don't have a buffer. And then we'll listen to the Pinstripe multi-buffer. What we're looking at here too, this is an early version that he sent me. That's why it doesn't say multi-buffer on the top. I would show the one on my board, but it is covered in Velcro, and so you can't even see the word multi-buffer anyways. It's on the bottom right side of my board. And so I figured this way we'd be able to actually see what's going on when I'm swapping cables if I use the other earlier unit that he sent me. So firstly, let's hear clean tone just through the compressor as if we didn't have a buffer. All right, this is what clean tone's like. Sweet, now let's plug back into it and hear output 2 is what we'll listen to first. All right, here's clean. Awesome. I mean, the biggest thing that I notice for sure is when I'm playing some like kind of lower, cleaner stuff, like a power chord, it has a degree of definition there that when I'm going straight into my compressor is completely rolled off. And it's kind of like it almost smears those notes together a little bit more versus now. It's just as if somebody came in and kind of professionally engineered the tone. Very cool. I can play so lightly, and there's still like a rich clarity. Awesome. So that's a big plus to me. Now, another big thing is like, you know, what happens whenever you don't have a buffer and you don't have the multi-buffer here and you're going straight in your compressor and you use some drives. Like what does a drive do with that kind of information? So here's overdriver. Now let's drive it even more. I'm going to turn on the Benson Germanium boost. wouldn't call it compression that it's adding, but there is something that when I'm slapping the guitar like that it is giving me a certain sort of pump and punch that straight into the compressor is not doing whatsoever. So that is a very quick idea of the difference of having it and not having it, and kind of what I'm listening for when I'm using this thing. But as you may notice, there's actually two outputs. A simple way to use it would actually just be, like one side goes straight to your tuner and sending your signal that way. But actually a notable feature is actually the output 2 side, which is the side that we're in right now, which is on that kind of top right side that the cable's coming out of. And it has that little Nutric lock. The left side is output 1, and it's a little different. Output 2 is the Jensen transformer side, and it adds what I feel like is a sort of bell-like chimey clarity in the top end and a certain kind of fullness in the like 500 hertz. That's at least what me and a engineering buddy, Kevin, a buddy of mine, we got together, and he was noticing that frequency range popped up when we swapped over to. It was really cool. And so output 1 in comparison is a hint louder. We're talking like 0.5, maybe like 1 dB louder or something. And it just seems to round out the top end a little bit more. So let's just swap between that with cleans and see what we notice there. Yeah, so very interesting. Once again, very subtle. You'd have to kind of really listen to it maybe a couple times and know what you're listening for, but it is a smidge quieter, kind of like I was mentioning, on output 2 Jensen side, and output 1, like we're in right now, is just a hint fuller sounding, maybe with the way it rolls off that top end. So there's not a wrong answer. I find 1 to be more inspiring sometimes when I'm playing live, and then I find 2 to maybe be a little more helpful to be used in like a studio scenario if I want like a rich chimey clarity. I don't always need it, but it's really cool that it's got it. Let's hear that same thing with some drive. Super cool. I mean, once again, no wrong answer. It's just kind of, output 2 with a lot of drive, it feels like it kind of separates some of the notes a little further almost in a very small way. But then it also does a very interesting thing with drive information. It's almost as if it's receiving a purer form of the guitar tone, and it's interacting a little bit less muddy. That might not even be quite the right word. It just feels like the drive quality has a little more kind of separation, and you hear textures a little bit more independently. And then you swap over to 1, they blend in a little bit more, but the tone does get a hint tighter and more under control in some ways because of that slightly rolled off top end. So anyways, very short and to the point, but that is a quick look at the Pinstripe multi-buffer. It is a small, simple tool that I think makes a big difference in the long run. So there you go. That's the Pinstripe multi-buffer.